Alex here with a quick video on the Kyle Carruth Chad Reed incident. I'm going to do a quick video now because I'm actually planning to live stream with Dwayne from Dad Surviving Divorce on the topic, and we'll probably go more into detail then, plus we'll be able to address your comments and stuff like that. So apparently there was an incident in Texas. There's a video clip, maybe even two video clips of a dispute between a father, his ex, and his ex's boyfriend. I don't believe it's a husband. And the dispute involved the father wanting to see his child. He wasn't allowed to see his child, so he alleges. So he went to his ex's house, confronted her at her house, and then her boyfriend slash husband, I'm pretty sure it's boyfriend, came or went back into the house, got a rifle or a long barreled weapon of some kind. I'm pretty sure it was a rifle. Walked back out, and then there was the confrontation over the firearm, which led to the father being shot and killed. The father also had his significant other present. However, she was recording from a vehicle or just from a distance. None of these details are really what I'm going to go into in this video. What I'm going to talk about is, I guess the things that the proper person talks about on his channel, which is here we go with a court order that is purportedly being violated, and somebody tried to use a non-court solution and got killed over it. Now, that statement makes it seem like I'm blaming the guy that showed up at the house. Really, blame can go in so many different directions here. And when it comes to a channel like mine, a lot of people are going to be like, wait a second, I know what it feels like to have an ex that won't let you see your kid. It's their fault. And there is some truth to that. Obviously, the situation would not have occurred if she would have complied with the court order. Other people will say there may have been a reason she was violating the court order, especially lawyers, because contempt of court is not mere violation of an order. It is violation of an order without a justified basis. So, once again, you end up going to the road of this should have been taken back to court on a contempt of court hearing / motion. And then we will have some people who will say the judges are so incompetent that that wouldn't have done anything anyway, that the motion would have been denied or cost an extortionate amount of money to litigate, blah, blah, blah. All of these are valid concerns, and maybe this is, or valid points, and maybe this is why I'm going to do a live stream on this with Dwayne. So look forward to that. We can get into all the details of it. I will give my thoughts, because that's what I'm going to do on this channel, is give my thoughts as well as talk about some of the collateral cases that have popped up based on what happened. I'm also going to mention that all I watched was the videos. There may be things going on in this case that are not in the videos, and so I don't have that information. All I did was watch the video. I have a lot of information from watching that video, but there may be things I don't know, and please mention it down in the comments below if you think I'm missing something. But my thoughts are that he should have filed a motion. That's what I would have done. I wouldn't have even gone to the house. And the reason why isn't because I would have been afraid of my ex trying to find a way to kill me. I guess there's a small chance that I would have thought maybe in the back of my mind, but no, my main thought would have been that she would have filed something in court to say I was stalking. As you guys remember, in my case, I didn't even know where she lived. Still, even if I did know where she lived, I would have been concerned that if I had gone to her house, her attorney would have said, look, we knew it. He's an evil man and he's stalking her. Sure, you can go into court and say, yeah, well, I was only there because she didn't let me see my son, but it's not going to matter. You just gave your ex yet another argument to use against you, which is just going to add one more thing for the judge to look at, which, according to my channel, is not good. I try to keep it as simple as you possibly can for the judge. When you're dealing with a system that is full of so much dysfunction that you have to work around all the dysfunction, pervasive incompetence, all this other stuff, my approach has always been, if you've been watching my channel for years now, to keep it as simple as you possibly can for the court. And so I would have just completely avoided that, because in my brain I would have been like, yeah, now there's more things to talk about next time we go to court. I have always felt that the more complicated the case is, the murkier the attorney can make it, and the more likely they'll be able to dupe the judge into making a mistake. So that's just my perspective, guys. I'm not saying that other people's perspectives don't matter or that those points are not valid. We'll talk about that with Dwayne when I go live. We're going to double stream to both channels. But yeah, my thought is I'm not going to go over there because she's just going to find some way to turn it around and make it look like I'm the bad guy. And I'm just going to avoid that and do what I do, file a motion. As you remember, if you've watched my docket series, I filed multiple motions for contempt, and one of them actually succeeded. So it does work, it just doesn't work every time. The better the judge you have, the more likely it's going to work for you. So that's what I would have done. Of course, I wouldn't have had to deal with the problem of not having enough money because I was representing myself, so it's free. And if it would have come down to the court making a mistake, I would have probably filed an appeal also for free. So I would have aggressively litigated it to the ends of the earth like I did with my case and ended up working. And that's what I would have done in this particular situation as well. So if you were wondering what would Alex do, that's what I would have done. I would have sent a text. I'm expecting to see our son. She would have responded saying something like no. And I would have just said, I wouldn't have said anything. She would have just gotten served with a motion. The next thing I was going to mention is I want to talk a little bit about the collateral cases that are stemming from this. Apparently, there are no criminal charges from what I have heard. If I'm wrong, please mention down in the comments below. If there are no criminal charges and I'm correct, I will say this. I am not surprised. Maybe to, people on this channel, that's going to be really infuriating. But people on this channel have a very different experience than most people in the population. There are people who've gone through custody court, divorce court, and they have bad experiences. But that is nothing compared to the high conflict torture that most of us have been through. They are not going to have those experiences, and I don't think that they're going to understand that situation the way that other people who've gone through high conflict cases would. Most likely, they're going to see it as self-defense. Yeah, there's different things. You know what? If you want to see an analysis on different things that could have been done to avoid self-defense, there's a guy, I think his name is Dr. Grand. Dr. Grand, he has a huge YouTube channel. He's a mental health professional, and he talks about why he doesn't think it's self-defense and blah, blah, blah. But I think that the ordinary average juror will probably think it was. And if it went to trial, so let's say I'm wrong and the guy gets charged for murder, most likely it's going to be not guilty. That's my thought. Same thought that I had with Rittenhouse, I have here. If you've seen the videos, you'll probably see why I have that thought. And again, just because I'm saying that that's what I think most jurors would think doesn't mean that I'm saying that that's what I would do if I was on the jury. In fact, I probably wouldn't even be allowed to sit on the jury. The other thing that I wanted to mention is the videos probably worked more against the victim than for the victim, even though the significant other of the man who was shot and killed probably thinks that it was good that she recorded it. It really doesn't show that he was just murdered. In my opinion, it shows a confrontation between two men who are really mad. And then the guy that lives there went and got his gun. And then the guy that was not supposed to be there snatched the gun, said, I'm going to kill you with it or shoot you with it. You bet, and then he said, yeah, you should shoot me. So, I mean, it's just like, there's just more than a field day or two for any defense lawyer that represents that guy. So I would be shocked if he was charged, and if he was charged, it's probably going to be a not guilty. The next thing is there is a lawsuit. It's like a wrongful death lawsuit for $50 million that the significant other filed. I don't know. I mean, the preponderance of the evidence standard is way lower, so that works in her favor, I guess. But my thoughts here are that if it's just the video that's introduced into evidence, she's probably going to lose that lawsuit. If there's other things going on, emails, texts, something else, something weird going on in the background, then maybe there's a case there for that. Perhaps she's just really angry and wants to subject him to the litigation process. Maybe they're crossing their fingers and hoping that something comes out in discovery and that there was some kind of conspiracy to get this guy killed. But the guy still did things and said things that if he hadn't done and hadn't said wouldn't have made the case so bad for him having been shot and killed. So my thought is most likely the personal injury lawsuit for $50 million is going to go nowhere. That's my thought. There might be a settlement if they can get past the early case termination and mid-case termination phases. Watch my videos on those topics if you want to know what I'm talking about. If they can get a actual trial scheduled, maybe they'll get a deal. But other than that, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just dismissed at the summary judgment phase. I think it'll get through the failure to state a claim phase. Then there's one more collateral action. I guess the significant other of the man who was shot filed to get if I remember correctly, guardianship or was it custody? One or the other of the children. And I don't know how she's going to pull that off either, because she's going to have to show that the ex is super dangerous. I mean, because there's the parental preference presumption. If you guys don't know what that is, watch my video on the topic, parental preference presumption. It comes from the Constitution. And it's you can overcome it, but it's hard. And it's going to take, at least in Nevada, if I remember correctly, maybe it's everywhere. I believe it's by clear and convincing evidence. So it's just yet another really hard sell for that significant other to try and get custody of kids that are not hers. It's possible, especially if it was the ex who shot and killed him. I mean, it's more possible. Not even then with the video. The video does so much damage to that case, because it's like, yeah, the things that were said make it plausible that the other person shot him for a reason. It just does. Plausibility can go a long way in a courtroom. I've seen that in my case. Especially when you don't have an attorney. Now, she doesn't have that problem. She's going to have an attorney, and the other side's going to have an attorney. But I still suspect, more likely than not, that she will not get guardianship or custody of those kids. In fact, I don't even think she'll get visitation. She'll probably get nothing, because the law just doesn't allow for it when you're not the parent. You can get all the time under what I talked about earlier. Under you overcome the parental preference presumption, you can get all the time with the kids. Maybe when it comes to different states, they may be able to give visitation to the dangerous parent, but that sounds kind of like, why would you do that? If you're a court and you said they're dangerous, why would you do that? Anyway, that's all I really have to say on this topic for now. I'm hoping that Dwayne from DSD will get back to me, and we can schedule that double stream. We could talk more about this, because a lot of people are talking about it now. And it's not only on social media, but it's actually in mainstream media, like on TV news and stuff as well. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to post them down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.